All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's Silverbird today, and it's time for us to have some serious conversation about, where we go forward from here. How do we move from here? Nation building. I mean, it's a good time to have conversations like this because at the end of the day, we're looking forward to a general election that is, not a distant time from here.
Yeah.
And our minds have to be prepped. The young ones have to understand the timing that we live in, and that's why we bring up topics like this. And of course, we have an amazing guest to help us through. But Toye will do me the honors of introducing him.
He was on the show about 2 weeks ago, and we had a very interesting and insightful conversation, and he's back again. And we're also just moving on regarding the situations we're facing. How can Nigerians navigate these trying times and just get through the really difficult process that is Nigeria? And you spoke about personal leadership and what everyone needs to do to be able to move. So based on what you said, adding to what is going on right now, what is personal leadership and what is everyone's responsibility in times like this?
Okay, so personal leadership is your ability to develop and utilize leadership qualities and skills to advance the direction of your life, where you have dreams and goals, and where you have certain expectation as to what the outcome of your life should be, rather than leave it to time and chance. That's why we call it personal leadership. You take responsibility to develop, to utilize skills that are relevant for you to be able to serve as a leader, not only just for yourself, for your community, but more importantly towards the realization of your dreams, your goals, and your life objectives, rather than leave it to time and chance.
Time and chance.
That's why you see a lot of people are asked to learn to lead themselves before they consider leading others. Because most people just live their life by chance. They expect either their parents to make the decision for them, the school to make the decision for them, the government to make the decision for them, the employer to make the decision for them. Largely here, you are making decisions about improving the quality of your life, taking control of things that are within your control, and learning to navigate through the ones that are not within your control.
You know, it's funny how you talked about life and chance. One group managing director of a bank once said to me that he wasn't the smartest of kids or bankers around, but what got him there was time and chance. And I
had that conversation.
No, I disagree. I was like, okay, time and chance don't get you.
It's opportunity.
No, but you have to put in the work. But sorry, I'm going to deviate a bit. The vice president just
I was going to go to that.
Declared his intention to run for office of the president for next year. Let's talk about the timing now. My brother, we've been experiencing 72 hours of power out. I don't know if you've had light.
1 hour of light in the whole day.
And he chose to, declare this kind of time. Segue that, connect that with our topic for today.
I understand the sentiments. Really. I understand the hardship. The environment is. This is probably one of the darkest days of our lives in this country. But when you study the history of nations, you discover that many nations have gone through many dark moments. Imagine what kind of announcement someone will have planned to make on September 11 when the 9/11 incidents happened. So either of two things: it might have been a coincidence, it might have been a thing of not being sensitive, but realistically, it's in the dark moments that we expect light to shine. We don't appreciate light until there is darkness. And nobody will actually know the value or the importance of light until they experience darkness. So when we bring it down home to us here, the declaration means little or nothing to a lot of Nigerians at this point when we look at the hardship they were facing. But in another dimension, it means a lot, because people are looking for credible hands to lead this country. They're looking for competent hands to lead this country. And we have a number of people who have been declaring in the past few days. Mr. Peter Obi was on TV yesterday talking about his presidential ambition and all of that. While I recognize the rights of every individual to make their declaration, I'm looking beyond the rhetorics. In my mind, these guys have this thing planned out 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We only just keep reacting to the incidences that we are seeing happening today. These guys they are very thoughtful, they are strategic. They're thorough. They've been holding meetings every night while you and I are sleeping. They've been attending meetings, they've been consulting. And for someone who just came in now to make his declaration known on a day like this, the person didn't think of it yesterday. He didn't think of it last week. These conversations have been...
You're right, because in the case of the vice president, there's been a lot of denial in the last 6 months.
Not even denial, silence, body language.
Yes.
And a lot of people have been coming up with a lot of, if Ashibaju does not declare, we will not do this. You know, that advert seemed to me like a joke. You know, I met with a few guys who said, oh, they believe in his presidency and they have information from the north because they are close to the powers that be in the north, and they decided to leverage it after a meeting where they heard that there's a likelihood they were going to pass with the vice president to run. And I said, where did you get that information from? So these young boys went to the studio and produced adverts. Lovely advert. I saw it a couple of weeks ago and said they were going to throw it out in social media too. So there are also people, there's a lot of permutations going on behind the scene. There's a lot of scheming going on behind the scene. So I think right now, and that's been my own campaign, that rather than for us to be reactionary to the news, we should live ahead of the news. We should take proactive steps. In line with our conversation on personal leadership, if we can aggregate our visions and develop a collective ideal for Nigeria and walk it through the next few years while we look at both the short-term solutions, the middle-term solutions, and the long-term solutions, we will react less to anybody's actions.
Okay, so what should this position of the average Nigerian be at this period and point in time in relation to all these people who are at the helms of power and who seem to want to also run again? What should each and everybody's disposition be?
The disposition will remain the same, sadly. The disposition is that let's lower our expectations in this 2023 election. It's too late for us to do anything magical. We can only have the saving grace of God, you know, intervene at this point in time. But like I said earlier, let's look at the list of the evils available to us. You understand what I'm trying to say? We have so many options now. If I'm not wrong, over 24 aspirants already
Within the party?
Not just within the party, across the parties, across board. Over 24. That means we have a lot of options. So let's check out the pedigree. Then let's see how we can get them to work. Because that's the dimension of leadership. Leadership is not the leader. Leadership is the relationship that the followership and the leader build together. Let's leverage this declaration they are all making. Let's leverage it for us to take personal responsibility for our own destinies. Vis-a-vis going to vote. Nigerians should stop doing analysis paralysis. We should stop reacting. This morning I went through the social media. A lot of people are angry. For me, I was surprised at myself that I was in shock that the vice president declared he was running for president. Not because I wasn't expecting it. So I was asking myself, why am I shocked? Why am I? The man is competent. I wasn't expecting it. Thank you. The man is competent. I've heard the information that they're trying to persuade him. But it's bad enough that our system, our political system is rigged. No matter how good you are as a person, if you go into that system, you're going to end up being a bad person. No matter how holy you are, how righteous you are, the current system right now, if they throw you and I into it, the narrative will be bad against us. Why? We will tend to have information that members of the society do not have. We will tend to see things from a bird's eye perspective, from a mountain view perspective that a lot of Nigerians are not seeing. What we gladly react to is news in the newspaper, information, and a lot of our conversation, like some people will say, sounds like a bear parlor conversation. But the real deal, the real information is layered according to your level, according to your sophistication, according to your exposure, and according to where you're operating and the environment you are in. So for me, I'm very sensitive when I receive that information. In my head, I try to take it from a strategic position because I'm a strategic leadership expert. I'm analyzing it from a leadership perspective. Why would the vice president declare at such a time as this? What are his thoughts? What is he thinking? What are the games going on behind the scene? What are the conversations going on behind the scene? I understand he visited another presidential aspirant recently. That's the Asiwaju. He visited him a few days ago. I understand he had a dinner with some governors, about 30 governors. I don't know how to. So I'm thinking in my head, what are the things going on? Now, the question for Nigerians is, what is our role
That's what I was going to say.
in all of this that is going on? Our role starts from the fact that, I keep saying it, let's go into the political parties. Not only go into the political parties, let's give reorientation to our youth. Check it out, a few of us who are young people, who are out there, that if we start a conversation, some people can manipulate them, use their poverty exposure to get them to become unruly, to hijack the process and create crisis. Let's go and reorientate those people. Let's target them. Let the youths target them. Let's mobilize. This is the opportunity, irrespective of who is going to end up being the flag bearer of either of the parties. Let the Nigerian youth agree on the Nigeria of our dreams, and let's compel them to submit to that agreement, to that decision during the course of the debate. Let's make certain demands, infrastructure, especially with electricity. Let's make demands in terms of education.
As much as we make demands, it's at the end of the day, the government comes out to issue one flimsy look at the issue of the people that were kidnapped in the Kaduna, Abuja. Until date, there have been people that have not been, they're putting out these statements by the bandits, and in the same country, you would have the newspaper carrying it, headlines carrying it, looking for ways to speak and dialogue with, they've been giving us drone footage of the place, but can't we have military go there to actually capture and rescue? These are the issues. And beyond all of that, there's a lot of political permutations going on, and we are just the elephant, like the pawn in the game of chess. So, I mean, I don't know how.
But my encouragement is this. I don't want to analyze the problems anymore. Off the top of my head, that military issue now, we have a lot of military experts who are Nigerians who have been debating. Can we have a conference of those military experts, give us ideas of what they think we should be doing, and make recommendations and submit it to the people responsible for the implementation? People who know what we should do. Can we have like for example, now we are talking about a lot of transformation that needs to take place in our world, in our country right now, in terms of security. But there are some people who have been speaking. Can we have an aggregation of those recommendations?
At the end of the day, when it gets to the powers that be, they will say they want to do it their own way for certain reasons.
I wouldn't take that attitude.
Okay.
I will use it as a point of negotiation with those who want to come in. Because that's the same mistake we made in 2015. These guys told us they can solve the problem within 30 days of coming to office. It's been how many years now? We didn't ask them how. How do we intend to do it? So this time around, we should ask the how, the what, and the when.
I was gonna, I was gonna ask you just before we wrap up, what's not even timeline. What's the right question to ask? What's the right would I say proposal to request for? Because I said this morning on the radio that I would rather have a president who will come and tell me in 4 years I'll give you constant power than the one that will come and tell me he will do El Dorado, and at the end of 4 years achieves nothing.
Exactly.
But in the role of leadership, let's talk about the diaspora for a bit. Nigerians in diaspora. What part do they play in, of course, chanting this course of leadership towards next year's
I've interacted with a lot of Nigerians in diaspora. Funny enough, on Saturday I was speaking at the conference of Nigerians in diaspora in the Americas, and a lot of powerful people, were represented, and it was quite exciting. I saw a lot of young people who have a very strong passion for Nigerian, young professionals who have a very strong passion for Nigerians. When I was launching my book, I launched it in the US. I had the opportunity of interacting with a lot of Nigerians in diaspora. They are asking questions. You can still see the love in their heart. But what the problem is for them is coming into the system. They are afraid of the environment. They can't trust the system to protect their lives. Now, you don't blame them.
I know.
You don't blame them. But the question is, everyone has not been able to connect the dot. It's the how. So I keep telling, for example, now I belong to a WhatsApp group largely composed of Nigerians in diaspora. Because of where I was resident at the point in time. And I listen to all the activities, I listen to the arguments over there. What Nigerians in diaspora can do is to leverage their expertise, their competence level, their exposure, to come up with practicable, insightful solutions for us and make it public. And let's sell those ideas to governments, institutions. Let's leverage the institutional framework to push this thing. And let it become a public debate that can get the government's attention. And this is the opportunity to do it when the elections are near, when they are in the mood to make any promise. This is the time to get them to sign a contract of engagement with us.
Anyways, because of time, we need to wrap up. When you come on, we're always having so many angles to this situation, and we never end up really getting a total But for the young people, I know that at least we have some sort of hope. We'll keep having these conversations and hoping that we have implementation things or things that we need to do to get us to that point, even though we're not where we need to be. We'll eventually get there.
So I was going to recommend that you and Chike should engage the youths in being mobilized appropriately for the right cause. Let there be adverts, let there be news items on it consistently. Don't allow yourself to be used by unscrupulous politicians to truncate the system.
They already.
Let's do that. Let's mobilize them. Let's encourage them to go out and vote and count.
Word of the day says the very essence of leadership is that you have to have vision. You can't blow an uncertain trumpet. That's from Theodore Herzberg. The very essence of leadership is that you have to have vision. You can't blow an uncertain trumpet. True.
That's true.
And also says a happy birthday, belated birthday to Blessing Wosu.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if it was a birthday
yesterday.
Anyway,
I think it was yesterday.
We know where we'll meet. So have our tete-a-tete. You know how we do it. You know, and this is where we wrap up the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Toye, for coming on the show.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, and we'll see you tomorrow for another exciting show and something very interesting to talk about. So please have vision in your workplace. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.